राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यामुनतीरावनचारि। यामुनतीरावनचारि। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यामुनतीरावनचारि। यामुनतीरावनचारि। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यामुनतीरावनचारि। यामुनतीरावनचारि। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे। हरे राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे। हरे राम राम हरे हरे। श्रील प्रभुपाद प्रणतन है। जय राधा माधव राधे। श्रील प्रभुपाद प्रणतन है। जय राधा माधव राधे। राधा माधव अष्ट सखी की जय। पंच तत्व की जय। गोपाल की जय। गौर भक्त की जय। Okay, we're reading from Bhagavad Gita, a very wonderful chapter. Different titles are given. It is called Nature, Enjoyer, Consciousness, and Bhagavad Gita as it is. Bhakti, or Baladev Vidyabhushan calls it as Prakriti Purusha Yoga, Prakriti Purusha Vibhaga Yoga. Then, or Bhakti Thakur or Seventh Goswami calls it as Prakriti Purusha uh, no, not Vibhaga. I think Viyoga Yoga, Prakriti Purusha Viyoga Yoga, or Yoga of differentiation. Yoga of differentiation, because that is the idea. That is the reality of it. Differentiating the body to the soul, differentiating the matter and the soul, clearly knowing and acting on that part. So that's he is calling that. So in this way, this 13th chapter, very in the whole Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter is the chapter which filled with so much knowledge, so much philosophy, philosophical knowledge. Out of 18 chapters, this 13th chapter is the most important chapter which has that philosophy. In different ways, Acharya is explaining. Srila Prabhupada is giving his purport and understanding and essence. What is this last 6 chapters means? Uh, Bhakti Baladev Vidyabhushan is giving his commentary. Slight variations are there, but more all otherwise more all in the essence is the same. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is giving his commentary also, his essence of what this last 6 chapters means. And then Baldev Bhaktivinoda Thakur also gives his commentary from Rasik Ranjan. Beautiful descriptions. And let us get into the. We'll read the verse and we'll only read first 2 verses because a lot to cover and it has to be a lot to digest in this chapter. If I go and finish more verses, then you can digest, you can understand this particular chapter. So we'll go a little slower so that we understand this particular verses. 13th chapter, verse number 1 and 2. There are various ways. This is Arjuna's, I think, 12th question. We'll come to that when we start explaining. Arjuna Vacha, no, before that. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nasta Prayeshu Abadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Om Tatsat. And offer our prayers also. Om Adhyanatirandasya Gnananjana Salakaya चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दिनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यईश्वरम् वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। नमाचार्य ललिताष्टक की जय। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। Prabhupada ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktan ki jai. So, 13th chapter, verse number 1 and 2. Arjuna Vacha Prakrutim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetragnam Evacha. Once we read these verses, first we will understand the connection. It's a little bit difficult to find the connection for this chapter. Some other chapters straight away you can find out from the last verses, it directly connects. But this chapter it's a little bit difficult to connect unless you a little bit you ponder, you research, you apply your mind and intelligence. Then only you can figure out this. There's a connection, of course, and then we'll look at the sections and then we'll understand the different our acharyas giving the explanation about this, what these last 6 chapters it meant, and then we'll get into this particular 2 verses. So Arjuna Vacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetragnam Evacha Etat Veditam Ichami Gnanam Gneyam Cha Kesava. Please note, in this verse, the whole chapter is answering to the first verse. In this, Arjuna is asking the question. In that verse, there are 6 questions, 6 Sanskrit terms, 6 questions. So if you know this first verse, then it's all the whole 13 chapter has 35 verses. All 35 verses are describing in essence of these 6 aspects, 6 topics. Arjuna Vacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva. Those are 2 words there. Kshetram Kshetragnam Evacha. That is another 4 words. Etat Veditam Ichami. I want to know. The Gnanam Gnayam. There again 2 words. Gnanam Gnayam Cha Kesava. There were 6 words. First 2 lines. Second, third line has 2 words each. And then fifth line has 2 words. So total 6 words. 6 Sanskrit terms, almost similar to the 8th chapter beginning, also uses 3 difficult sense, Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva, Adi Yajna. So here, Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetragna, Gnanam, Gneyam. And Lord Krishna answers also in a different way. He doesn't go in the same sequence the way disciple is asking. It is not. So Guru doesn't need to answer in the way disciple thinks. So Guru can answer either way. So Krishna also doesn't answer the way Arjuna is asking. So he answers the way in which disciple, it is better for disciple. So that way also here. श्रीभगवानुवाच इदं शरीरं कौन्तेय क्षेत्रम् इति अभिधीयते एतद्यो वेत्ति तं प्राहो क्षेत्रज्ञ इति तद्विदः श्रीभगवानुवाच अर्जुनोवाच प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव क्षेत्रं क्षेत्रज्ञमेव च एतत् वेदितम् इच्छामि ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं च केशव श्रीभगवानुवाच इदं शरीरं कौन्तेय. Lord is answering immediately. So first some questions, not all. क्षेत्रम् इति अभिधीयते एतद्यो वेत्ति तं प्राहुः क्षेत्रज्ञ इति तद्विदः. One more time. Arjuna Vacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetragnam Evacha Etat Veditam Ichami Gnanam Gneyam Cha Kesava Sri Bhagavan Vacha Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetram Iti Abhidhiyate Etadyo Veti Tam Prahu Kshetragna Iti Tadvidaha. Racharya gives one small similarity, simile, which we can easily understand this chapter. We'll discuss that. So, but this chapter, if one can understand, then we can go back home back to Godhead. This chapter specifically. This chapter, last six chapters are foundation is in this chapter, in this 13th chapter. So it's very important to know this particular chapter. We have to pay a little double attention on this particular chapter. Word to word transliteration. Arjuna Vacha. Arjuna said, Prakrutim, nature, Purusham, the enjoyer, Cha, also, Eva, certainly. You may have to hear recording also after hearing today as well. This whole chapter is like that, a little bit. Uh, Needs more hearing. Kshetram, the field. Pay attention to these words. Prakriti means nature. Purusha means enjoyer. So different enjoyers. That which enjoyer we are talking about, which enjoyer here. That will Krishna will reveal that later on in this chapter. Kshetram, field. Kshetragnam, the knower of the field. Eva, certainly. Cha, also. Etat, all this. Veditam, to understand. Ichami, I wish. Gnanam, knowledge. Gneyam, the object of knowledge. Cha, also. Kesava, O Krishna. Kesava. Kesava has many meanings, but here Kesava means the demons. What is demon is here? Doubts. Doubts demon is here, back again. So that's why he's using Kesava. By Arjuna is using Kesava here. He's not the one who has a beautiful hair. He is also Kesava, Lord Krishna. It's not, he is the control of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva. No, that's not the meaning here. Specifically, the meaning here, the specific meaning here is the personality who killed the Kesi demon. So Arjuna wants to kill the demon of doubts of the six questions haunting him. So that is the purpose he is using Kesava here. Oh Krishna. Sri Bhagavan was the personality of God had said, Idam, this, Sariram, body, Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Kshetram, the field, iti thus abhidiyate is called, Etat, this, yeah, one who, Veti, knows, Tam, he, Prahu is called, Kshetragna. Wherever Gna is used, that means know, knower. The knower of the field, iti thus, Tat Vidaha, by those who know this. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Arjuna said, Oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field, and the knower of the field, and of the knowledge, and the object of knowledge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said. The first verse Arjuna is asking. Now the second verse, Lord is answering. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, This body, O son of Kunti, is called the field, and the one who knows this body is called the knower of the field. We repeat. Arjuna said, Oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field, and the knower of the field, and of the knowledge, and the object of knowledge. So six questions, six things is asking. Prakriti, Purusha, 1 and 2, field and knower of the field, that is Kshetra, Kshetrajna, knowledge and object of Gnana, Gnayam. Keep repeating. The whole day till you sleep, keep repeating this, then you will get it. You will remember for the rest of your life. You keep repeating for a few days. Prakriti, Purusha, Gnanam, Kshetram, Kshetrajna, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Gnanam, Gnayam. That's it. Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Gnanam, Gnayam. That's it. You keep repeating it, you'll remember it. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, This body, O son of Kunti, is called the field. Kshetra again. And one who knows this, because he's answering two questions immediately. He was further. One who knows this body is called the knower of the field. Kshetragna is telling. First is telling about Kshetra, and then he's defining Kshetragna. We'll understand these verses. So first we have to understand the connection. What is the connection? Why here Arjuna is asking this question, where it is started. Direct connection is from chapter 12, verse number 8. What did Lord Krishna said in verse number 8? Verse number 12. 8 and 12, that is the connection. immediate connection. Then there's a connection from 434, last verse of transcendental knowledge. And there's a connection from 7th chapter, second verse. So what is this? Is 12th verse. श्रेयो हि ज्ञानम अभ्यासात् ज्ञानात् ध्यानम विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्म फल त्यागात् शांति अनंतरम. After telling about Raganoga Bhakti, then Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, then if you cannot perform that, then work for me. If you cannot work for me, then you indirectly do offer things to me. If you cannot do that, then read my books. So if you cannot read, then meditate. So like that. That is our Sreyo hi jnanam abhyasat. Knowledge, cultivation of knowledge by reading books, studying books. If that you can do, Sreyo jnanam abhyasat. Jnana dhyanam is dhyanat karma phala tyaga. Dhyana, meditate. If you cannot do that, then try to give up the results. Means not attached to results. So giving up the results means you don't throw. You offer it to the Lord. So that's what attachment results you have to give up. So in that way, that is the verse. That is where that gnana. So the knowledge is very important. So that's why last 6 chapters. The first six chapters will come to that. Let's look at the connection. So that is the first connection. And the 8th verse, there is a connection that where Lord is answering to Arjuna's question of impersonal versus personal, where Lord Krishna is telling that this transcendental knowledge, one who is engaged in hearing about me and worshipping me, I'm forgetting that verse, but he says, very quickly he will approach, he will attain me, he will see me face to face, he will attain me. So there also this knowledge word is used in the 8th verse, but 12th verse is direct, 8th verse is kind of indirect. Then the 4th chapter we see also uh, about the transcendental knowledge, the last verse. Chitvayanam samsayam yogam atishtottishta bharata. First 2 lines are talking about the knowledge. You need to remove this illusion. Chitvayanam samsayam, doubts. This big burden of doubts in your heart, mind, intelligence. You have to cut, you have to break these doubts, remove this illusion, layers of covering in your eyes, in your ears, in your nostrils, in your sense perception. Everywhere these illusions are there, all those illusions has to be removed. So that is a chittavainam, cut these knots by transcendental knowledge. That's the 4th chapter ending. You'll see. And 7th chapter beginning also, Lord Krishna is speaking about the phenomenal knowledge and numinous knowledge. The foundation, how everything is provided, and who is the source behind both. When you hear from me with great attention, then you'll know me both. How everything is pervaded and everything is working, and also who is the source behind this whole thing. So in this way, the 13th chapter is beginning. That is a connecting point. So now the sections. The first verse itself, one section. Section 1. 6 questions asked by Arjuna. So we'll come to that. This is the actually Arjuna is asking, but this is actually in the succession. This is the 10th question in the whole chapter till now. Bhagavad Gita 13th chapter. So for 10 questions, this is the 10th. This is the 12th question. This is the 12th question in this 13th chapter. Arjuna is asking. So these sections are first section is the Arjuna 6 questions is the first verse, and then the second section is 2 to 12 where Lord Krishna is answering Arjuna's questions. Only 3 is asking. Even the 6 questions is asking reverse order is first 2 are too difficult. If one understands the first 2, he can actually attain the supreme. Prakriti, Purusha. These are too difficult to understand. Well, who is actually Purusha has to be understood, and Prakriti has to be understood. What is the reason? What is its purpose? How it should be used? What is our purpose? Who is actually real Purusha? That's the nature enjoyer. That is the title is like that. That's the different acharyas giving slight variations. Nature, enjoyer, consciousness. You understand these 3 things, then you are done. You can go back home. Practically, you have to realize it. There is a Prakriti, Purusha, Vibhaga Yoga, Vibhaga, divisions, or Viyoga Yoga of differentiation. You have to differentiate each of these aspects. You have to really know essence behind it. So that's the Lord is answering. Second section is the Lord Krishna is answering the questions of 3, 4, and 5. First two are Prakriti Purusha. First two questions Arjuna is asking, but he's not answering first two until the last. First two are answered all the way last because those are the most difficult. First he has to understand where did Krishna began in Bhagavad Gita, second chapter. That's where here also 13th chapter also begins there only. Body and the soul is the chapter. Chapter 2 begins with body and soul. Science, the contents of Gita summary, chapter 2, verse number 13. Famous verse. What is that? Dehinosmin yata dehe komaram yapanam jara tata dehantarpa. There are satam, the body and soul. Same thing here also. That's the first he is telling. Kshetra, kshetragna, knowledge, and gnanam. 3, 4, 5. So Lord Krishna, second to 12, Lord Krishna is addressing, answering the questions 3, 4, and 5, which is Kshetra, body, Kshetragna, as a field of activities, the body, and the knower of the field of activities, that is the Kshetragna. Then the fifth question is knowledge, Gnanam. This is the second section. And the third section is 13 to 19. Now these are answering the sixth question, which is Gnayam, object of, which is very important, object of knowledge. That is the third section. So, which is 13 to 19. And then 20 to 26. Now is coming back to the question 1 and question 2, Prakriti and Purusha. Prakriti and Purusha is answering in the fourth section. And then the last section is 26 to 35. 27 to 35 is answering what is the title? Consciousness. Is answering about the consciousness in which one to understand and how one sees. That they keep repeating in each verse from 27 to 35, except the last verse. I think you will see that one who sees like this, one who sees. That means consciousness. In which consciousness he sees. What is his attitude? What is his characteristic in which he is seeing things? Is observing things. In which what knowledge he sees in with. So that is consciousness. So that is answering the third aspect of this title of this chapter in the 27 to 36, 35. 35 is the last 35 verses. In this way, this particular chapter has been clearly divided. Arjuna is asking 6 questions. Lord Krishna is answering all the 6 questions. And then finally, he is telling how one can go back home. One can go back home, back to Godhead. So in this way, this chapter is divided into these 5 sections. Now we'll give the one similar as a simile, not similar. Simile means example. So Acharyas give. I think Baladev Vidyabhushan Bhakti Thakur. Baladev Vidyabhushan Bhakti Thakur gives this example that if somebody is giving or somebody is building a house, constructing a house, what is the purpose? Either to reside or you rent. Either way, it is for residential purpose. Either you live it or you will give it to rent. Either way, it is for residential purpose. Otherwise, why will you build a house? So that is the purpose. So same way, why the Lord is building not one universe, innumerable universes. Bhakti Brahma Samhita, verse number 40. He's talking. Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Kodi. Jagadanda. Anda means universe. One globe. You can say we are in the one big universe in the middle planetary system, earthly planetary system. So Yasya Prabha means by his glance. So Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Kodi Kotish Asesha Vasudhadi Vibhuti Vannam Tad Nishkalam Anantam Asesha Bhutam Jagat Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. By simply his glance is creating, by his breathing in, breathing out, universes are coming. Innumerable universes he has created. What for? If somebody is building, ordinary person building a house for a residential purpose, why Lord is creating these innumerable houses? For what for? The Lord explains that just like the farm of the agriculture has been given a land, demarcated land for his purpose. He has his own land where he will till the land. He will use the land, till the land, grow the crops, depending on his capacity and depending on how much he puts his energy, his capacity uses. Accordingly, he can produce superior grain, inferior grain. Some people produce so many wonderful things in the same farm. Somebody wants to, I don't want to work so much. I'll do just once a year. I'll grow just some peanuts or some whatever, in 2, 3 months done. I don't want to spend the whole year. So they may grow only small things, or they may throw anything, or they may not grow anything, just grass will grow, or they will grow easy things, whatever. So people, depending on the living entities, his capacity and his efforts, accordingly, different grains are produced, different things are produced. Same way, Lord is giving the facility. The living entity has been given a demarcated position, demarcated land, that is this body. It has its specific purpose and specific usage. And one must utilize that specific purpose and specific usage has to be done. Then according how he uses, according to his capacity, how he utilizes is this particular field, as a ksharaka, as an agriculturist of the field, which is the body. We are the agriculturist of this field, of our body. How you utilize it, accordingly you produce inferior grain, impious activities, irreligious activities, sinful activities, or you produce a superior grain or a pious activity, or you produce extremely wonderful grain, which is bhakti grain, which is akama karma, akama. That means there is no tinge of any material activity, is completely producing. The bhakti creeper is growing and growing. Finally, it is reaching, touching the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, Sambasundar Krishna, Vajendananda Krishna. So, this is the analogy given for this chapter by our Acharya Shri, I think, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, or Baladev Vidyabhushan, is giving this analogy. Nice analogy to understand this particular chapter, the philosophy behind this Prakriti and Purusha, Gnanam, Gneyam, Kshetra, Kshetrajna. That's a Kshetra. Kshetra means field. Kurukshetra is where the place, there's a battlefield happened. Where the battle happened. Field again means Kshetra, Kurukshetra. Same way, this body is also is got in this particular context. But don't go back to the first chapter, Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra. Don't take the meaning of this Pandavas means again. Prabhupada will scold like left and right. People, because their acharyas didn't comment. Here, this particular chapter is specifically talking about the body and the material nature, body and the soul and the knowledge and the object of knowledge, everything specific for this particular chapter. First verse is not talking about the first verse is talking exactly right to the point of they are assembled on the battlefield, they are fighting, and they are differentiated their own sons and the Pandus and Kurus within their same dynasty. And then, but it is related to the agriculture field, taking out the paddy field, unwanted creepers grows. Same way, the Dhritarashtra and co will be taken out. Ultimately, they will lose. They will be taken out by Lord Krishna, by the superior authority. So that is the understanding. You cannot draw any other understanding, which will be extrapolation or deviation from the acharyas. So that's everything has to be understood, and you have to draw your essence from the acharya siddhanta. Then you can actually transform. Otherwise, you can transform. We can transform our heart. So that is a simile. So that is a connection from the 12th chapter to the 13th chapter, and those are the sections. Then we have to understand the 13th chapter, the last 6 chapters. The first 6 chapters, Prabhupada says in the purport, first 6 chapters talking about the living entity and the living entity, the soul, and the super soul, the relationship between the subordinate position of the Supreme Lord and the no subordinate position of the Jiva, and superior position of the Supreme Lord is understood, and the relationship is understood. So the soul to the super, by which first understanding himself. The main first 6 chapters mainly understand this is what Prabhupada says. If different acharyas say differently, but Prabhupada says emphasize the first 6 chapters mainly talking about the living entities is soul, his position as a spirit soul. You understand that at least theoretically. He hasn't perfected at least that is what it delineates. And then he understands his relation with the Supreme Lord. That is what first 6 chapters are giving. And then by the time middle 6 chapters comes, the middle 6 chapters talking about now he understands in relation with the Supreme Lord, his superior position of the Supreme Lord and his subordinate position of the Jiva, and in relation with the devotion service, that means practical. Sambandha is first 6 chapters, is relation, and then the middle 6 are talking about avideya, practice. So the acting. Once he knows the relation, then he is going to act. He is performing bhakti. But there is Mishra that is being discussed also. The middle Prabhupada is talking about. First thing is says is subordinate and superior position of Supreme Lord. And then in relation with the devotion service, where bhakti begins, 7th chapter begins with Karma Mishra Bhakti, where 4 kinds of people, that also Prabhupada says in the same purport. So 4 kinds of people with different mixtures of devotion, different desires, distress, inquisitive, all that. They're all surrendering, they're all coming to worship the Lord. So all that is been mentioned. This is the middle 6 chapters. Then the last 6 chapters mainly to give the knowledge why the living entity has come specifically come into the material. Why did he come here? How he can get out? Why is he suffering? How he can get out from this? Understand why he has come, uh, why is he suffering, and then how can he get out? That is the last 6 chapter. That's what Prabhupada summarizes in this particular first verse, 1, 2 verses in the purport. Prabhupada is explaining. Then Bhakti Baladev Vidyabhushan talking about um, Baladev Vidyabhushan talking about first 6 chapters is talking about specifically about Nishkam Karma Yoga. Mm. Middle 6 chapters is talking about Kevala Bhakti, the pure devotion. Then the last 6 chapters is specifically talking about uh, Gnana, Gnana Yoga, how to, especially the Gnana Yoga, how to detach, how to de-entangle himself from this material world and get back and engage in his pure devotion service. So otherwise, already been, this is what Baladev Vidyabhushan gives. And then so Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining that in reality, Lord Krishna has given the middle 6 chapters. By 12th chapter, he has done karma, gnana, yoga. Already he explained bhakti, everything he has explained. I offer my respects and my obeisances to Bhakti. Is very much Bhakti Acharya, especially Bhakta Acharya. He takes the position of the devotees. He has already given, but in this particular chapter, he is talking about Gnana Mishra Bhakti. So he has already given. Gnana also has given. But he is indirectly, he is talking about Bhakti also in these 6 chapters, but he is indirectly putting Gnana mixture so that he can develop detachment. And then the connecting verse is from the 11th canto, 20th chapter, verse number 8, Uddhava Gita. In that there's a verse. जाता श्रद्धया कथासु न निर्विन्नो नातिशक्तो भक्ति योगो अस्य सिद्धिदा. One who understand this knowledge, transcendental knowledge, one he becomes neither disgusted with this material world, with this body, with whatever duties, facilities is being given currently, nor he becomes too much attached to the things. Neither is disgusted, that means he is not renouncing, nor he is too attached. Either way is very much balanced. Neither is acting on the karma kanda vichar, which is too attached to the fruitive activity he wants to enjoy, nor is disgusted. He is not acting as a gnani. Gnani means this is false. Brahma only satya, everything Jagat is mithya. I will go to Himalayas, I will go somewhere else and do things. That is Gnani's business. Karmi's business, I want to enjoy. The 60th Prabhupada explains. Their business is forget about God, forget about anything. There is no future life. Let me enjoy because minute I think about future life, then I have to think about empires. I may have to think about sinful activity. I may have to suffer. I may go to hell. Then I have to think so many things. Forget about future life. Let me enjoy. Let's keep that on one side for now. I am not there yet. I will think about it later. Let me enjoy. Most of the people are in this category. They don't want to even think about. So that they have no idea. There is no goal of life. There is no conception that human life means austerity. Human life means rules and regulation. But they don't want to think about it at all. Let me. This life means enjoy. My friend used to be there, my classmate. You have to enjoy, man. What is there? Just drink, whatever you like, eat whatever you like. So this is what he used to say. So he's my school friend. Last time when I went, he passed away recently, unfortunately. This is the reality. It's not easy. People cannot realize what is the goal of human life. What is just you can't realize it, and then continue. Next life continues. So that's whether we like it or not like it, we have to know. Otherwise, precarious position we'll have to take. Not even human birth we can get in the next life. So that will be more dangerous. So that's why it is good to know. Good to know. So then we can do things better, much better. Nothing to renounce here. That's why this particular verse, connecting verse, which we are discussing, that neither we should be disgusted with the things, nor we should be too attached to things. We should be balanced. So the perfectionist, the real person, intelligent person will use things, whatever his position currently, whatever is given, he accepts that Lord has given and utilizes things in the service of the Lord. He will not become too attached. So that is the purpose. That is what our Vesana Chakra Thakur is saying that. Otherwise, Lord has given everything. First chapter, Krishna has done is Gita. But last 6 chapters, he wants to make sure so that he can be further enlightened, pointed towards how he can disentangle himself from his suffering, from his identity to this material body. Krishna wants to cover that again in great detail. So that is the purpose. The first 6 chapters, in as a nutshell, is mainly stressing on karma, work. So transforming the work. Because always, anywhere you see in this world, is main thing is to stress on the positive side of it. Because if you keep thinking negative side, you'll go completely, your mental, you'll be depressed. You have to think the positive side out of it always. So that's where it begins. Work. But naturally, you work and gradually bring into transformational work. That is the first thing. Gradually, you start working as per some religious activities. Then gradually come to Nishkam Karma. So that is the first 6 chapters. And middle 6 chapters, it goes further down with the devotion. Now you are not attached to results, but you have to bring Krishna in the center. More and more, and then perfect. And last 6 chapters is telling now you have understood the whole process. You have included the Lord. Now you have to start disentangling yourself from this bodily identification. That you have to clearly know, and you detach yourself. Internally, you keep detaching yourself. Identification, the attachment you have to give up. So far, you have developed attachment to the positive things. Now you have to detach from the negative things. So the negative aspects have been stressed so much. Why we are here in the first place? Why we are suffering? So what will cause our suffering? What will cause us to be here in this material world? All that is being described from all these three, four acharyas, Baldev Vidyabhushan, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Shukopal, all these acharyas, explaining this last 6 chapters in this from various angles. So now let's get on to the verse from today's verse. So anything else before that? I think because it's very important to pray to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Before chanting the six Ashtakam, there is a one beautiful prayer, which is very, two prayers are there, two verses of, I think this, Prabodhananda Saraswati only. So, Prabodhananda Saraswati also, I think, beautiful words, where it says, Kala Kalina, Kala Kalina Balina Vairi Varga, Kala Kalina, Kala Kali Balina Vairi Varga, Bhakti Marga कंठ कोटि रुदा भक्ति श्री भक्ति मार्ग यह कंठ कोटि रुदा आहात्मयामि विकलम किम करोमि अहम आहात्मयामि विकलम किम करोमि अहम चैतन्य चंद्र यदि ना यदि what is it? Mercy. Krupaya, krupaya karomi. So, beautiful verse. We will repeat that again. Kala kalina, kala kali balina vairi varga, which means, kala means this time factor in Kali Yuga is so insurmountable that no one has strength. Kala Kali, Kala, time factor of Kali Yuga, Kala Kali Kalina. No, Kala Kali Balina. Balina means very strong. Vairi Varga, because it has so many enemies. Internal enemies, external enemies, both are there. So it is very difficult to penetrate ourselves. To progress. If you move 1 inch, you go back 1 inch again. So you again in the same place. So you think you are moving a little bit in bhakti, then tomorrow again we are back in the same place. So this is the position in Kali. That's why this verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is praying to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Please, I have no other way to go out. You are the only mercy. Kala Kali Balina Vairi Varga. Vairi Varga. Sri Bhakti Marga, only path is Bhakti Marga. Bhakti Marga, yeah, in this life, in this world, Sri Bhakti Marga, Kanta Koti Ruddha, everywhere thorns after thorns, filled with, I have, my life is filled with thorns. Everywhere obstacles are there. I am trying to practice, but the obstacles are there. Then what do I do? Sri Bhakti Marga, Kanta Koti Ruddha. Ahakvayami Vikalam. Now I am frustrated. What can I do? Kim Karomi Aham. Then Chaitanya Chandra Yadi Krupaya Karomi. So please shower your mercy, oh Chaitanya Chandra. Please shower your causeless mercy on this unfortunate soul, so conditioned soul. I am suffering. Please shower your causeless mercy. I think this is Prabodhananda Saraswati prayer only. He can only write. He has written beautiful prayers. The another verse is we generally apply the logic and argument in so many things in politics and sports. Okay, you have that mindset. Throw all other that logic and argument apply it on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Use your intelligence. Chaitanya Chandra. What is that? I'm trying to forget. Chaitanya Chittera Chamatkar. That was I'm trying to recollect. I have to look it up. So I can't remember the verse. But beautiful verses. This is all Chaitanya Charitamrita. Such an way. So this is the verse I was quoting. The boundless mercy of Sriman Mahaprabhu is the only hope for the Jiva of Kali Yuga. In Sri Chaitanya Chintamrita, yes, Prabodhana Saraswati only. Sri Prabodhananda Saraswati says, has written, Kala Kalir Balina Indriya Vairi Indriya, I forgot, Indriya Vairi Varga. The senses are so strong, very strong. Sri Bhakti Margaya Kanta Koti Rodha, thousands of thorns. Aha Kvayami Kala Kim Karomi Ham, Kim Karomi Ham. Like Madhavendra Puri asking, Kim Karomi, what should I do? What is my duty? Chaitanya Chandra Yadi Na Adya Krupam Karosi. Please shower your mercy. Now it is in this age of Kali, my enemy, the senses are very strong. The beautiful path of bhakti is spiked with countless thorns like karma, gnana, unrestricted sense enjoyment. My spirit is weak. My senses are powerful and agitated. Oh, what shall I do? Where shall I go? Oh Lord Chaitanya Chandra, if you do not grant me your mercy, what shall I do to save myself? This is a great Acharya. Sri Prabodhananda Saraswati from Ramanu Sampradaya became a great Acharya there, and they became a great devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are brothers, three brothers. I think, yeah, three brothers. Venkadavata from Srirangam. He is also devotee of from Ramanu Sampradaya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed at his house. His brother, his elder brother, Prabodhananda Saraswati. And then one more is there in between. Trihal, one more is there. Bhatta, second one, middle. There are three brothers. Venkata Bhatta's son was Raghunath Bhatta, great Goswami, one of six Goswamis. By the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all of them, including his son, Venkata Bhatta's son. Venkata Bhatta's brother, all three brothers, and his son also, all became attained the supreme, attained Krishna Prema. So that he is offering this beautiful prayers. Let's look at that particular verse, and then we'll come to that. Yeah, here we go. Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is Krishnadas Kara. चैतन्येर दयार कर विचार विचार करीते चित्ते पापे चमत्कार. Nata says you kindly put your consideration and judgment about the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with your logic, and if you consider with logic and argument, vichar, you will feel that these are all wonderful things. So that means generally many people have used the logic and argument. Now use that logic and argument on Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rather. Don't you waste your time on politics and sociology and so many isms. Rather use that time in the service of the in the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so that your intelligence gets purified, even if it is you are doing logic and argument. So because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is expert, he has defeated all the greatest logicians. And 13th chapter is talking about the logic only. 13th chapter specifically talking about Brahma Pratishta, Brahman effulgence, Brahma Sutra. On the basis of Brahma Sutra, philosophy begins with Vedanta Sutra. 13th chapter, all the main verses are talking about that only. 13.5, Brahma Sutra Padaya Hetu Madhir Vinishya. So, quoting of Upanishad is also there in this verse. So, the different koshas. So, all these are there in this particular chapter only. So, it's a very important chapter in that sense. Anyway, so now we'll understand this six questions. The first, there are we have first. I haven't explained. There are many questions Arjuna asked so far. We'll look at the second chapter where Arjuna's first question is asked. What is the self-realized soul? What is the characteristic? That's where the first question begins. 54, 2.54. Arjuna was the sthita paragnasya ka va samadhistasya keju. स्थितधीर उच्यते किम प्रभासेत किम आसीत किम व्रजेत किम. That is the first question, 2.54. Then it begins in every chapter. So third chapter beginning, second question. Why do you want me to engage in the ghastly warfare? Then the fourth chapter, third chapter, so there is second two questions. Why am I engaged in gas? Why am I forced to engage in this sinful activity? I don't want, but somehow the why. That was the second question Arjuna asked. Third chapter, there itself we have three questions covered. And then the fourth chapter, fifth verse is asking, how come you are telling about Vivasman and all this? You are senior. He is senior to you. Then how is it that you are saying you discussed, you gave the knowledge to him? How am I to understand? This was the question, 4.5. That is the fourth question. And the fifth chapter beginning again, going back to the same third chapter, he's asking the same question in a different way. So far, you tell me that you renounce the work. Now you are telling me that work in devotion. Which one you want me to do? You want me to renounce or you want me to work in devotion? Tell me precisely what do you want me to do. That was the fifth question in the fifth chapter beginning, first verse. And then the sixth chapter has two questions. So sixth chapter is asking, one was about the My mind is whatever you explained in this Ashtanga Yoga, I can't control. The mind is so unsteady. It is a great, it is very, very difficult than controlling the wind. I can't control this. How can I control? So then, of course, Krishna answers. So that is the sixth question. Then the seventh question in the same chapter, second question. Then what will happen to the unsuccessful transcendental? What will happen to him? He'll be falling like a raven cloud. He'll disappear. What will happen to him? If he doesn't attain because it's so difficult, what will happen to him? Then Krishna gives answer also. No, he doesn't get lost. There are two different ways: short term or long term. If he falls down in short term, what will happen? What will result? If he falls down on the long term, what will happen? So that he will explain. That's where seven questions are done at the sixth chapter. And then seventh chapter, no question. Lord Krishna directly begins, ends because there is a connection. Because sixth chapter, last verse is talking. Sixth chapter, 46, 47, two verses are there which is connecting to seventh chapter. And then the eighth chapter begins with the next question. So total seven questions for the sixth chapter, and then the eighth chapter begins with the eighth question. Eighth chapter begins with eighth question, similar to this 13th chapter, Sanskrit words, Adi Bhota, Adi Dev. No. Yeah. Yeah. Kim Tat Brahma, Kim Adhyatmam, Kim Karma Purushottama. That was. Is also famous verse. Because seventh chapter ends with those Sanskrit terms, that's when Arjuna asked those questions. That is the eighth question. So that whole chapter there is no other question. And then ninth chapter, no questions. That is the connection from eighth chapter ending to the ninth chapter further. Then the 10th chapter has question. 10th chapter, Arjuna is asking, you are told so many now how can I, in the ninth chapter you have given most confidential knowledge, but I can't, I'm an ordinary person. I'm not a spontaneous devotee. How I can daily basis, how can I think of you? How can I perceive you? I can think and feel and remember you. Kechu kechu subhaveshu. Kim parichintayan. So that's where the next question. So we have so for eighth chapter, eighth question was asked. Then the ninth question was asked in the 10th chapter. And then the 10th question is asked in the 11th chapter. Yeah, 10th question is asked in the 11th chapter. In the 11th chapter, 11:26. I saw all your different forms you have shown, different ferocious, so many heads are cutting off, so many things are happening in your universal form. Who are you? So I can't figure out who are you? What is your purpose? So all this asked. That is 11:26, I think. That is the 11th question. So yeah, the 8th and then ninth, 10th. 10th question is in the 11:26. And the 11th question is in the 12th chapter, beginning. Arjuna is asking impersonal verses from Evam Satadevta Bhaktastam Paribhajita Pekshamo Vektam Tesham Ke Yogavetam. That is the 11th question. Now, this is the today's 6 questions asked by Arjuna is in the 12th question. 12th question is this one. So, this way, if you read regularly again and again for 10-15 years, everything you will become thorough. If you hear from Prabhupada books and you hear from Prabhupada lectures, you will thorough in and out, you will know what connection from one chapter to another chapter, how the sections are laid out, everything. Nothing will become no confusion will be there. Everything will be very clear. You will be able to know clearly who is speaking from Prabhupada, who is not speaking, who is using his mental speculation. Everything you will know. You can easily figure out whom you have to hear from, whom you not to hear from. Everything you will know. If you don't read Prabhupada, you don't hear, then you'll have no idea. Who is advanced, who is not advanced, who is at what level, you can't figure out even either. Who is Guru, who is not a Guru, who is bona fide, who is not a bona fide, you can't figure out. It is not possible. Because you have no understanding what is bona fide, what is not bona fide. So then how will you know? How will you differentiate? You can't differentiate. If you get it from the bona fide Acharya, Sampradaya Acharya, then you'll know. Everything you'll know. So I haven't learned from, I have no knowledge, no qualification. Whatever I am speaking, I am just sharing what Prabhupada has spoken from his books and from his lectures, more so from lectures, because elaborately he describes so much detail, you can't even fathom. I can't find another speaker who gives at this detail at the detail which Prabhupada gives in his lectures from Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, quoting so many scriptures. That's how Rupa Goswami quotes like that. Our six Goswamis quotes. That's why they are called experts. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Sadharma Samstapako. Onde Rupa Sanatano Raghu Yugo Sri Jiva Gopala. There are six Goswamis. They have been told to study the scriptures scrutinizingly and refer, quote Shastra everywhere from all scriptures, from Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, different Shastras. They should quote and then explain. So that's it. Prabhupada exactly goes in the same footsteps of Sri Rupa Goswami. Then explains, and everywhere he quotes so much. Because that is the standard. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to be the high standard. The presentation has to be high standard. So we should take full shelter of Mr. Gopal, then we can understand. And now we understood the connection from 12th chapter to the 13th chapter. Now we understood the five sections. We understood the high level essence of this chapter from four or five different acharyas. And then we understood all the questions so far. What is 12 questions? Today's is the 12th question, six questions. Now let's get into this verse and we'll quickly wrap it up. So because this itself, if you understand this particular part, then rest of them can be easily digested. So here Arjuna Vacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetragna. What is the next line? It says, Etad Veditam Vichami Gnanam Gneyam iti Kesava, I think. So it's not easy. Still, despite hearing and reading so many times, still sometimes mind doesn't function. Arjuna was Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetragna Gnam Evacha Etad Veditam Vichami Gnanam Gneyam cha Kesava. Yeah. So here, basically, Arjuna is asking the six questions. Prakriti means material nature, but it's not just material nature. Actually, what is the source of the material? What does it mean when you say material nature? That means whole second chapter, expansion of second chapter in terms of Sankhya Yoga. All the 26 elements, what is Prakriti contains? Who is the origin of it? What is the cause and effect of it? How are these produced? That whole, it's not just Prakriti, material, what is big deal? No, but the whole thing we need to know. And Purusha means who is the Purusha? Who is the Parama Purusha? Who is the Jiva Purusha? We are also called Purusha, similar to the Brahman. Jiva Brahman, even Prakriti is also called Brahman in this chapter. The and then we have Parabrahman, who is the Supreme Lord, Super Soul. So, but here Purusha means the living entity here in this particular case. So that is called Purusha in this particular case because he's thinking he's enjoy. That's why in this case. But otherwise, in general, Purusha means only the Supreme Lord. Everybody is Prakriti in that sense. But in this context, it is Purusha means living entity, the soul. The Prakriti means the material nature. So then Kshetra. Kshetra means field. Field means this body. So that's why immediately Krishna is uttered. Sri Bhagavan was idam sariram konte, O son of Kunti. Kshetram iti avideyate. In this field, the kshetra, this field is used for activity. So that's why idam sariram konte. This body is called kshetra because this is used where the activities are produced. Activities are done using this particular body, this particular field. That's why it's called kshetra. It is called avideyate means it is called. Because idam shariram etad yo veditam vetitam prahu. One who knows that this particular kshetra is body is used for activities, then he is the real knower. That is called kshetragna. He is defining the third, fourth basically. So Prakriti Purusha is keeping it for later is a difficult subject matter. Then he's addressing the third and fourth. Kshetra kshetragna evacha. Kshetra and kshetragna evacha. Kshetra means field. Kshetragnam means knowing the field. That means we should know, as I explained the simile already. That means we should know how does body, are we the body, are we the spirit soul, and how is it functioning? What exactly is happening with me? Why my mind is taking me in 100 run around, so making me run around every day? Why am I not able to function the way why am I not able to use my spiritual potential? Rather, I am operating at the completely at the material enjoyment. So completely at the uh, under the grips of the three modes of material nature. So how can I go get back to my feet? So that is the main purpose here, Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Not that simply knowing theoretical, I am not the body and spirit, so that's not it. The practically acting on everyday basis. That's what this chapter is talking about, practical aspects. How one can everyday basis practice the bhakti, work, do the reformed work, transformational work. How we can change the ordinary work into transformational work. Same work you may do, but in what attitude, in what consciousness he will do, and how he uses his results. That is the change we have to bring. So that is the key. Etat Vedamicham Gnanam Gnayam cha Keshav. Gnanam means knowledge, Gnayam means object of knowledge. That also we have to know. Many times we know the knowledge, but object of knowledge is not. What is the purpose? Why we are read Bhagavad Gita? Krishna minus Bhagavad Gita means no use. You haven't understood any Bhagavad Gita. Many people read Bhagavad Gita. They read Bhagavad Gita. I know these many verses. That is not the meaning of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita means have you applied any verse in your life? Have you practiced any Krishna's instructions? Then okay, you have understood some portion of Bhagavad. If the person hasn't applied any principles of Bhagavad Gita in his own life, then knowing a verse has no meaning, no value. It is only you will get some punya and you will get a lot of prestigious awards and you can go on stage and you will get medals. But that has no value actually. Krishna is not speaking for your medals. Krishna is speaking on the battlefield on Kurukshetra for Arjuna to reform, to enlighten him, to actually make him understand, to transform him, not to get him the medals. That is not the purpose of Lord Krishna giving Arjuna. He is not wasting his time. These medals will one day it will be there, it will be gone, it will be rusted. The medals will be rusted. That is not the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. But today's most of the parents are after this only medals, uh, which is good, but it is not that is not the real essence. The real essence is not to go on the stage and chant the verses. That is one meaning. But the real meaning is knowing the verse and putting in practice, applying the Vedic culture in life. That is the real meaning of Bhagavad Gita. Then, without that, Prabhupada said many times, all schools make sure that you not only they should children should read know the verses, but more important they should also know the translation. They should read translation. They should know and they should apply it. They should apply it. Let them read translation. And most of the school they don't even read Bhagavad Gita. They read so many other books. Where then how Prabhupada can help? You have no idea of Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna is speaking in each chapter, and what is application, then how you can lead your life? It's just not possible. You can lead if the person who hasn't understood the foundational knowledge, which Prabhupada has spent this whole life is mainly for that purpose. Bhagavad Gita is the main purpose. So Prabhupada has come specifically. Then Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Devata has given, but Bhagavad Gita is foundation. In Bhagavatam also Prabhupada quotes again and again, repeatedly talks about Bhagavad Gita only, philosophy only mainly. Because that is the crux. If that is understood, then everything is understood. Our life is perfected. So that's why this is the very essence. This 13th chapter is the essence. The whole philosophy of Gita is there in this particular chapter. So one should understand and one should practice every day. Anything I missed? What is the time? Already I think our time is up. 8:16. Let me see, and then we'll conclude. I think, I think I missed the reference of the verses. In the Srimad Bhagavatam also there is verses for this particular. This is called colored with fruitive activity. It is like a you take the coloring book and right now we are colored. Everything is colored. Uh, Instead of is all tinged with three modes of material nature: passion, goodness, ignorance. Like your red, blue, yellow. You go to the traffic lights like that. Red is passion, blue is ignorance, green is goodness. So that is how it is called. Whereas paravavastavad abodhayata yavan jignas atmadattam karmatmana ena sarira bandha. So this is in the fifth canto Srimad Bhagavatam. Rishabhadev is instructing. Very, very important instruction. Fifth canto. Prabhupada quotes so many times in his lectures. Rishabhadev's instructions. That's why, because he is so strong, that out of his 100 sons, most of them became very qualified, very, the whole our India is made after him only, his son, Bharat, Maharaj. Rishabhadev has 100 sons, out of them one is Bharat Maharaj. Nine of them became Nava Yogendras, nine spiritual masters, great devotees, Bhakti yogis. And then one of them is Bharat Maharaj. The rest of them became, I think, Smarta Brahmana or Karmakand section. But at least he tried his best. He was very, particular. And he doesn't want to give kingdom before they understand the goal of human life. Then only he has given. That is the ideal father, ideal king, ideal guardian. So that is the purpose of a guardian. So because otherwise they could waste. They don't know what is the value of how to utilize things. Then if you give them the business, if you give them the um, property, then they will waste it. So that's why Roshabade was very cautious. Before getting them married itself, he has told, you go and engage in austerity. Tapasa brahmacharya samena. This whole life is meant for austerity. Understand what is the goal of human life. Then you come back. Then you can get married. Then I will give you the kingdom. Until that, he didn't give you the kingdom. So that's why at least out of them, 10 became the great devotees. Bharat Maharaj, also that we are called Bharat Desh. So at least we should follow the footsteps of Bharat Maharaj, such a great devotee. So, and there is Nava Yogendra is also great devotee from 11th canto. 5th canto is Bharat Maharaj pastime is there, instruction of Rahu Gana, many chapters. And 11th canto is the Nava Yogendras. So there this verse is quoted. Paravavastavad abodhayat. Abodhayata means ignorance. We are being defeated every day. We are being defeated. We are being failed. We are regularly failing because ignorance only. Again and again we are bound to go in ignorance. So because three modes of material is acting very strongly, so we are not able to control our senses. So it is karmatmakam because of colored with fruitive activity. Uh, one of the senses are bringing us down. Every time some sense, eyes or the ears or the nose or the sense perception or the tongue. One of the senses are pulling us down every time. Something or other it wants to enjoy. So that's where the problem is. So that's why this particular chapter has to be understood. And Prabhupada writes in the last chapter, and I think last chapter essence, last verse essence, purport, and I think in somewhere in the middle also in this chapter, again and again, that this knowledge must be understood in the association of the pure devotees from the spiritual master. This gets repeated this because this chapter is like that. Because Shabda Brahma can only be spoken through a pure devotee. As per this knowledge can only be synced into the heart of the living entity, of the human being, only if it is received from the enlightened person, the advanced devotee, as well as the pure devotee of the Lord, as well as spiritual master. Repeatedly we have to hear. From Sri Prabhupada we should hear. That is the main purpose of this particular chapter, so that none of the senses, five senses, Gyanendriyas will not pull us down. We'll act with sama and dama. Tapasa brahmajan, samena damena cha. Mind will be controlled, our senses will be controlled. That is the purpose of the human life. That is the purpose of this chapter. Jnana is meant to control our mind, control our senses, not to artificially renounce, not to artificially detach and run away from the duties. No, that is not the purpose. To control and utilize properly. That is the purpose. Rashadev didn't wanted to take away his kingdom. He announced, he went to forest. But before he gave the kingdom, he told, You better get enlightened properly so that you will become nice kings. You can rule and take care of the praja properly, and then he left. He didn't become disgusted. Neither he became too attached either. So he acted appropriately. So, so that is the purpose of this particular chapter. We'll stop here. I think we have spoken enough. Let's see if anyone has quick questions. Anyone has questions? Go ahead. Yeah, you're on mute. Many questions. Everybody has understood? No questions? I will be surprised for this chapter if you don't have questions. Asyesh Jagannath, you have no questions? You have understood?
Prabhu, lot of this is the philosophical chapter, right?
Yes.
So we need six things you already mentioned, and that is correct. So, but question is that I need to study more and more. Then I can ask a lot of questions, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. Anyone else?
Hari bol, Prabhu. Dhanyavad, Prabhu.
Anyone else has questions? If you are not going to ask, I will ask questions. Uh, Jatin Prabhu, Mahabandhu Murari Prabhu, you all understood? Anything you didn't understand? Payal Mataji, Gopakanya Mataji. Go ahead. If you have a question, please open it up. So it's okay. Even if you ask the wrong question, it's fine. Because this chapter is very difficult. You should ask questions for this chapter especially. Go ahead, Jatin Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So this in general, like there is the karma yoga practice that has to happen, but every karma, how can we be detached more and not? There is a result attached to everything, right? So how can we
Right.
consciously or unconsciously not get attached to it, and how can we dedicate this to Lord?
Hmm. Good. That is the process for this chapter. So that's why it says in the association of devotee, one must hear every day so that we can practice it, we can offer it in the service of the Lord. So basically, you don't react, you take your time and you react. More we hear in this chapter, so more you become, uh, more you become peaceful, prashant atma. More you become detached from from the work, from the conditionings. That is the purpose of this chapter. So practicality aspect, that means you should chant the holy name. You should uh, and you should offer your results. You should try to do some service whenever possible, once a week, once a month, whatever. So those are the practical aspects. Then that will help us to detach. Otherwise, it's not easy to. But if you keep practicing it regularly, then naturally you can detach slowly and gradually. So what you're learning and what you have to apply it also. The application will be when you work in the office, then how you deal when you receive different reactions and how you operate. So you change your reaction, how you react to people, how you interact with people, how much time you spend. So all those things we have to change the way in which we act and which what consciousness and the time spent in the association with those who are not in line with Sadhu Shastra Guru. How much time we spend, that also is important. Then outside the work, when we try to engage, utilize our time carefully and utilize the resource also carefully. So that's why that verse is there. Na ati shakti, na anirvinno na ati shakti. That means not too deeply attached to the things, at the same time not too detached with the things. So that means your car, your house, your various things in your home, furniture, bed, whatnot. To the extent you need to have some comfort, to the extent you can have it. We don't go overboard. And so that is the practice of this particular chapter. That's what it means. Now you will start not sleeping on the floor. You may have bed, but you don't become luxuries. Now I'll need more new beds or new mattresses or so many comforters, and I'll sleep nicely. So that those things you may control it. So that is the purpose of this chapter. Knowing first is knowing itself. Awareness is important first. Then gradually more and more this chapter you hear it. More awareness is there. More you become conscious. Oh, I think I'm sleeping too much. I think I'm eating too much. Anyway, for health reason, I should control. So now I should control the way I eat. So at what times I eat, what time I sleep, what time I wake up, all these things will, because we are aware now, we will be controlling those actions and how I am investing my time in watching TV or watching sports or various things. So these things we'll consider. These are the practical application scenarios. For some purpose, we may have to use the TV. So to that extent, we need. To that extent, we can use it. For kids or for other things for family members. Sometimes we may have to. So to that extent only, we'll utilize it. Other times, switch off. So that mind is switched off. Because otherwise, when the TV is on, mind is already hooked on to the three modes. We have no control. We can't control it. Only the enlightened person, even if you watch, he will not get agitated, he will be controlled. But for anybody else, he will be hooked on to three modes. When he watches, which is anyway nothing, it is not in connection with, directly in connection with the Lord. So that's why we become entangled further. So ripple effects will be there for days also. So that's why those things we minimize, reduce it. These are some of the practical aspects of disentanglement. You don't throw out the TV, you can keep the TV, but use it only when it is needed. Same thing with whatever, all the resources, whatever we have at home or with us, whatever is Krishna has given, utilize it carefully. So every drop of water, everything, for that sake, for that matter, everything, use the light, everything you carefully. I think more you become conscious, more you become aware, you will utilize everything carefully. Even at home, not only at temple, even at your home only. You will not waste TV unnecessarily. You will not waste your current unnecessarily. Not even a bulb should be on unnecessarily. Not even AC should be on unnecessarily when it is not needed. When your fresh air is coming, you will open. So you get controlled. When you really need, that's when you open. Because otherwise, luxury will continue on. You will never be able to control your senses. When you have too much luxury, then you can't control. Yeah. So in every aspect, you'll feel it as you practice this process. You'll feel it, and you will be more controlled. Wherever you are, you'll be controlled. You'll not be so much. Otherwise, you'll be easily agitated. If you go to a place where it's too hot, too cold, you can't stay for a day because you are too much in luxury. We are used to this luxury, then it's very difficult for us. But for Prabhupada, wherever he went, he said, maybe he said about it, he talked about it, but he never complained. He went on with his translation, he went on with his morning walk, whether UK or Russia or Japan, wherever he went, for him, no problem. Because he has practiced it, he's practicing it, so for him, no problem. So same thing applies to us also. We may not operate at that level, but we can operate at our slow, at our level, we can operate. Baby steps we can take slowly and gradually. So it's just like, as a father, we want children too much playing games, too much sports, not studying. And what you do? Slowly you have to see engagement, how much, where their time should be engaged, how. So you figure out a way so that they are detached from the TV business and sports business and put their time. Same thing for us also. Krishna is telling, Guru is telling, sadhus are telling us, hey, Baba, your time is up. That's how. So engage your time now in something else so that you're not engaged, you're not sticking to your TV, you're not sticking to some parties. Your time is engaged somewhere else. So that is what you have to give engagement. You can't become, free. Means either you are here or you are in the spiritual activity. One thing or you can't sit at idle and I'll think about it. That's not going to happen. That's not going to work. Mind has to be engaged. So that is the key. So yeah, I think that yeah. Is that clear?
Is that clear? Prabhuji, this is Suma. I have a question. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I have a question.
Yeah, we'll take.
Yeah, we'll take.
One minute.
Prabhuji,
One
okay,
minute.
so
1 minute. Jatin Prabhu, is that clear? I think you got mute.
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji is clear. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay. That is Subhang Mataji. Go ahead.
go ahead. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Sorry. I have a question, Prabhuji.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so you told us about the how to control ourselves and how to dedicate it to the service to the God.
Yeah.
What about the people around us to the expected whatever we are giving? Then more than that, they are expecting, or either in the personal or either in the professional. How we are going to be justified and how we are going to be placed it into the correct. And so whatever we are seeing or looking at the norms are not the other person is seeing, so they're expecting more results and the more duty, whatever it is they're expecting. Then in that case, how we are going to be make it align, Prabhuji?
Yeah, to the best of our abilities and possible, because we have made the decision. Okay, before entering into a particular ashram, we have made the decision. So we are the culprit. Krishna is not the culprit. And whatever situation we get in, we try our best to offer ourselves and the whatever facilities and the service we need to for the other party, husband, wife, children, parents, whoever that may be, guest. Of course, the other person always expects. It's natural. It's natural for husband, natural for wife, natural for children, natural for parent. Everybody expects more than what we can offer. That is a natural expectation. So children expect more from their parents naturally. So it's always like that. So in some cases, it's more. So expectation is more. What you can do? You can do your best, but you have to express it though. You have to express it. So to some extent, at least you have to express. You try your best. You should express it also, so that the other person should get it. Hopefully, maybe after 10 times, he will get it at least one time. Because so that because there will be limit. You can't go on every day. So there will limit. So you will try still, but they they need to be aware. They need to be conscious because uh, the otherwise it's just not a good proposal. The ashram means together. So yes, together doesn't mean that since I have bound. Yes, of course, marriage is a agreement. Doesn't mean that I will do to the extent whatever I like. Then it's not anymore two party. It's only one party. So there should be some leeway. At least some things has to be adjusted. But that has to be expressed lovingly and patiently. It has to be expressed, and hopefully it will sink in. After some time, it takes time. So, but that will be synced in when you serve, when you are praying to Krishna and the Guru, and then you serve also. Then many times we may serve, but the problem is our dependence is not on Guru and Krishna. Then you can remove this, remove the problem, remove the sync. That otherwise it will be always not in sync. The other person is not in sync. It won't work. When you are dependent on Guru and Krishna, then slowly things can get in, start at least to sink to some extent. It happened in Prabhupada's disciples, how many of them, their parents were completely against their sons. Many of them became devotees. Even if they are not devotees, they are able to so much favorability of Prabhupada and what he has done for their sons and daughters. In the beginning, they were so antagonist completely. But many of them became favorable later on. Because they are completely became dependent. Their sons and daughters, they became dependent on Prabhupada and the process works. But you have to give time. It's not one day, 2 days. It takes time. 10, 15 years you have to give time. At least 10 years you have to give time. Not few months. Because imagine we spent many lifetimes, and this life also we spent many years before Krishna consciousness. Then how we think that it's going to be just in few months things will completely change? It won't change. It won't change. Our activities, our behavior, our actions itself, to stop coffee, tea, to stop biting the nails, to stop even small petty things itself, it takes quite a bit of time for anybody. And then what to speak of in relationship to change things? It takes time. You have to give time. You have to give your, you have to depend on Guru and Krishna, and you have to lovingly serve. Then slowly, gradually, you can change. If it doesn't change, then you let it go. That means to the extent possible you serve, and then let them do whatever they like. What can you do? It's up to Guru and Krishna. You have to leave it to them. So always you have to accept. Despite you serving, Pandavas also served. Prahlad also did. Did he not get the different reaction? Of course he did. Did he accept it? Yeah, he accepted. Parikshit Maharaj also accepted it. So that is what the will of the providence is the ultimate. The divine will is the supreme will. But you depend on him and you pray, and then most of the times things adjust to some extent. If things don't adjust, then at that time, then you leave it in the hands of Guru and Krishna. You move on to you just cooperate to that extent, and you leave it. You can't keep on thinking about it. So it just unnecessary mind anxiety only. It doesn't give us any other benefit otherwise. That's what I would say. Is that clear?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, can I ask a question?
Yes, I think before the Subhangi Mataji asked. I don't know.
Oh, Subhangi, okay. I can wait.
Go ahead, Mataji, your question. Then.
I'm actually traveling. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear. Go ahead.
You mentioned about some luxury things that I remember once you assigned the seva to us to drop Advait Maharaj to Brooklyn Temple. So he was in our car and with his sevak, and there the temperature was in 90s, and he said, "Don't put the AC." So, and that was on highway. We cannot put AC. We cannot open the windows. So, was that because of he wanted to avoid the luxury things, or it was just because he had some health issue? I don't know. Was it the case?
Yeah, I can hear. So the couple of things are there. Whenever we take sannyasis, especially advanced devout Prabhupada disciples, you have a leather seat. We are supposed to put some blanket on the leather seat. Generally they don't like to sit. Most of them they do not like to sit on the leather directly. We are supposed to put a cloth. And whenever we sit on the AC, most of the devotees, even not only the seniors, many devotees don't like AC to be on. If at all, if AC is on also, not directly coming, the air coming directly to them. AC has to be turned toward different direction. Many don't like the air, especially if they are coming from India background. They are okay with standing, even if it is hot. Also, they will be okay. So we can put at the low, AC low with a higher temperature. So because sometimes it's more of a weather problem, weather change. They can't take the cold. Like sometimes they can take cold. For us, it's fine, but for him, it needs to be a little bit higher temperature. So some of them, it's depending on the their body also. You have to see the other person convenient. That's why we ask. We can go through the suffering. So for us, also may be difficult. We have to tolerate because now we are serving the Maharaj, senior devotee. For that purpose, we may have to suffer. We may have to switch off. It may be too suffocating for us. But for their needs, then we may follow. We may ask them. That's why generally we ask. Whenever we take somebody, is the AC is okay? Are you all right? Is your seat is fine? You need anything? So so that we follow according to their direction. We take them. So in that way, so at least we get, it's a proper way to serve. So naturally we get the more mercy also. When they are pleased, natural Lord is pleased as well. Is that
right? Yeah. I mean to say that he wanted to avoid the luxury, or he I didn't get that. And for
No,
us,
it is not
it was okay. It was
yeah.
90s. We were okay. Means we were sweating, but still it was okay because AC wasn't comfortable for him. That's what I felt first. But later on, when you mentioned that they have tried to avoid this luxury, so I thought that must be something connecting.
No, that is also maybe there, but most of the time that is not the case. It is not a luxury. Most of them they don't like AC. Most of them use fan. As well, many Prabhupada disciples, some of them at least I know, so they don't like AC at all. They use as much as possible. They like the fan. If at all, fan
Okay.
or the direct the outside air. Even in the car
Hmm.
also, they don't like AC at all. So, but many of them are. It will depend. They different Vedic different culture coming up from a different understanding or different way of. If they are too much into Vedic culture is like that very the strict standard. If they are too much in that, then they don't like to use AC at all. So very natural. So it's not. I mean, it's not a luxury thing. As well as I think you came from Vrindavan. That's the Maharaj you are talking about.
Yeah, last year when he was here.
Whom we
Hmm.
cooked, I think, right? That Maharaj, yeah, you think he's like he's very simple and yeah, he likes and not AC on, yeah. For that, it's not a luxury. It's just yeah. Many of the sannyasis also not don't want to do luxury, but at the same time we have to understand that each person is each personality is different. Some may they are because like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur accepted court and Rolls Royce, whatever. Prabhupada also accepted. So it depends. Each personality is different. Unless you enter into their activities and then only you can understand. Otherwise, externally you may see it and then you may think different things. But we have to study to understand the person. So but different personalities accept different things. But many of them are for preaching purpose they accept even AC is on is fine. Anything depend they will go along with your whoever is taking everything is fine for them. They will not say anything at all. Many of them. Some of them they will say, no, can you change this or can we do differently, something like that. So it depends according to the person.
Okay, understood. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Yes, Jayanti Mataji, go ahead with that. We'll stop. Last question.
So
Yes.
my question is, Prabhuji,
Yes.
just as what you're saying, detachment and all, the expectations. The thing is, sometimes we get hurt. So, how do you? So is it? So even though if we follow, we try to follow the best as we could,
Yeah.
but we get hurt because we are still human beings.
Yes.
That's number one. And number two, is I understand that those anxiety, we are trying our level best by following all this. Eventually, we will reduce our anxiety and we will be able to cope with the sufferings. However, there are certain relationship where no matter how much you practice, how much you do, like say for example, Kunti, she is completely on with Krishna, but still she worries about her kids, right? She
Right.
cries for their kids, right?
Yeah.
So there are certain relationship. However hard we try this, like for your families and some very close, there are those things are
Yeah. I understand. Yeah.
yeah. So in that case,
Yeah.
like your parents back in India is not feeling
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Those relationships are no matter how much you practice, being a gragastha. If we
Yeah.
were probably if you give up everything and you go and think, then it is a different
Right.
situation.
But what is your question? Yeah. Yeah. I
So
understand. Understood.
how do you? What do you do? What is may I know your advice, please, on this?
Yeah. When you hurt is, we depend on Guru and Krishna only. The hurt means, of course, we will get hurt. It's not big. Even if we do things, we have done so many things wrong in the past life also, this life also. It is our karma. Even though we might have done everything nicely now, because we have done something wrong in this life and previous life, then we We have entered into certain relationship. We have to face, we have to get those reactions. Even if you do so many things nicely, wonderfully, also still, because that's how these three modes of material nature work. But yes, of course, we can take it. Then we can only choice is that's why we have to chant. That's why we have to hear. That's why we have to be in the asu. That's why we have to do service. Then naturally you will forget everything. You will forget. Nothing will be there in the heart. So nothing will be there. Not a single thing will be there in your heart. When you keep on serving, keep on hearing, keep on remembering the Lord, this practice will cleanse everything. You will forgive everyone. There is nothing you cannot forgive in this world. Nothing. There will nothing you can forgive. Because the Lord will make you will not even remember anything, because this will be a so petty thing that you don't want to even think about it. You'll think, Lord, what can I do for the Lord? You'll forget, because it's so minute in the big picture of the life. What makes this difference? What is one point, a dot in your life? Uh, Somebody has hurted your feelings, somebody has abused your whatever. That's a dot in your life. So many lifetimes you have taken. But if you turn that towards the Lord, then that's a big difference. That makes a big difference. If you think about it, keep on pondering about it, then you're simply wasting more time. So which is not going to get us back to the right path. So we have to change our perspective. So of course there is a way you can approach, talk to different people whom they can listen to, or they can change anything. I doubt him. Most of the times it just goes reverse. It goes more and more, opposite direction. So in this world, most of the times they don't want to listen. Only our course of action is only you can pray, you can lovingly serve. That will only can change by our love and compassion and the Lord and Guru. Only these three things only can help and fix any relationship, any person. So and then depend if it doesn't happen, then still you accept it. Whatever comes in our way, we have to accept it. That's how Kunti Maharani accepted, because as a mother she has to worry about it, but then she totally actually accepted. Yes, this is good for me, so that because I can remember every day, I remember you. So because this difficulty is good in one sense, but she's not in so much anxiety. She's worried a little bit, but at the same time she's not so. She's always thinking of the Lord. She's not in our platform. She's in a much more higher platform than us. So yeah. So that's what I can say. Means there are ways. Means you have, of course, you consult with counselors and all. The process is there. But most of the time, unless it's a huge big problem, it's constantly, regularly happening, and it's causing is it's abuse after abuse. Then of course you have to consult. If you are talking about any relationship, you name it, most of the times in relationship things will come. Two different living entities means always difference of opinion is there. It doesn't stop. Especially who's following, especially when you don't intake the Krishna Prasadam, how can you control the senses? It's not absolutely not possible. You may try so many hundred ways, but until the point they don't take Krishna Prasad, even then also, after so long practice, if they are not properly chanting, they are not taking Krishna Prasadam, it doesn't sing so easily. It doesn't sing so easily. It's just not possible, because senses are not in control. So that's why it's not in this world. Things are not going to be easy at all. That's why matras, varsas, the first verse in Bhagavad Gita is very important for grahasthas, especially for grahasthas. For practitioners of bhakti in grahastha, you must tolerate. So from beginning of our practice to last stage of our practice, so you must tolerate. Prabhupada tolerated and tolerated till almost till last. He waited till he lost. He tried his best. But he had no choice at that point. He has a higher purpose. At that time only he renounced. So everybody tolerated. Most of them, Prabhupada disciples also, most of them tolerated. So the adjustment and toleration has to be there. So give and take. What can you expect? So minute you practice Krishna consciousness, you are already against all the odds. That's already been given. So Prabhupada is giving, Shastra is giving. So we are not, nothing is new what we are going through. This is bound to happen. Nobody will like anybody following Krishna consciousness, neither in the office, nor in the outside, nor in the family. No. So most of the times. If we are fortunate, we are lucky, very pious from the before life, then we get nice family. Everybody so cooperative. Oh, you are taking Krishna consciousness. What you need? How can I help you? How can I serve you? So if you are in that particular platform, the family and everything, then you are really fortunate. That person is really fortunate. That means he has done really, yes, he has done really Krishna conscious activities from the past. Since we haven't done on the past like that, so we have to go through in this life. So it is our own activities only caused us to enter into certain way things are happening. So we can't blame the Lord, we can't blame the other person, we have to blame ourselves. So to be in this particular position,
Ji, on
we have
this
to
topic,
accept it. Yeah, we have to accept it and move on. This is not the end of the game. This is not the end of the game.
so in this token, Prabhuji, this time when I visited my Acharyan,
Mhm.
they asked me to do Samakshanam. He said, next time when you're coming to India, the first thing you should do is you have to call me before coming to India. You should do the Samakshanam.
Yes.
So I am, which means they put the Changa Chakra on your thing.
Yeah, I
So
understand.
I am, yeah, so I am like a little bit, then we have got to follow the regiment and all that stuff. No, but my Acharyan said I cannot deny it also. So what is your advice on that?
It's simple. What is there? There we should not think about it second. This is Lord's arrangement. And this is Lord's arrangement. If somebody is asking you to surrender, spiritual master is asking you to surrender, go for it. Samashrayana means it's a surrender. We should be ready for it. There is nothing is stopping us. We're already chanting, we're already following. You can simplify it and you can discuss with them and see what you can do and what you cannot do. So they can adjust some of the things maybe. So depending on I think in your sampradaya maybe there's sandhya vandanam and with some other things we may have to do, or you may be already doing it. Generally, most of the times in our process there is no change. Because if you are already chanting 16 rounds after initiation, also you will do the same thing. Following four regulatory is the only difficulty. If you are able to do, then you can take initiation. If not, you wait. You continue on the rest of the things until when you are ready and comfortable, then you take the initiation. And so there is step one, step two, before that aspiring shelter, and then step three is initiation. So until that point, you wait and you practice it. Uh, that's about it. But nothing should stop. At least you should take aspiring. Aspiring means you surrender to spiritual master. You are chanting minimum one round. There is no other requirement. That means you are connected. You are deep, but you pray sincerely. You follow it as many rounds, as much process as possible. That. But when the time comes, then you surrender. But no, I don't want to surrender because too many things. Or I can't take it. So many problems are there. No problem will be there no matter what. You take it up this process or not, problem will be there. Then where you will go? If you surrender, then you get the mercy. You depend on more mercy. You get more mercy. If you don't, then you are on your own mercy. Then that means you are on the weaker position. If you take it up, then you are in the stronger position. That is the difference. So then Guru and Krishna can help. So that means Krishna, Arjuna is also telling. He's standing outside and is telling, Krishna, tell me what should I do. Krishna didn't say anything. First you come in, you surrender first. Then Krishna can answer you what you should do, what you should not do. If you don't even come in, you're not ready to accept surrender, then how you can help? How he can give you more mercy? He can't give more mercy. So that's many devotees don't do it. Many devotees don't want to surrender. No, no, I don't have job. No, no, I haven't brought a home. No, I haven't got married. No, none of them are obstacles. Who said not to marry? Who said not to buy a home? There is nothing stopping you. There is for initiation and guru. There is nothing. None of these are the stopping points. What is stopping you to chant? What is stopping you to hear? What is stopping you to worship the deity? Nothing is stopping you. So if the other person is not allowing you, then that's a different questionable thing. But otherwise, there is nothing which can stop us in surrendering to spiritual master. At least the step one can be taken. Maybe initiation can be waited, but at least a step before. Most of the sampradayas has pre-step before initiation. There is one more step before. I don't know the exact technical terms used, but in our case, there is aspiring, there is shelter. This is all pre-initiation. Then you take the initiation. So for that, you have 6 months to year time period is there, so that you can evaluate yourself how much you are able to do, and with your community, with your family members and whatnot, surroundings and your office and job and maintaining. So there is no problem. I don't see any problem. I rather recommend anybody wants to surrender, go for it. Only the third step with the initiation only you have to see, just if you are able to follow for regulated principle, then you can do it. No problem. But that doesn't mean that you no, now you have to wait for me. No, today I can't serve you. I have to do nirjal. No, that means you haven't understood. Initiation doesn't mean that now you will stop serving the other person. Initiation means you will continue the same service what you have done before. That will not stop. That will rather increase. Rather you lovingly serve more. That should go on. This is so that, because most of the time that is a problem, because now you think that I'm elevated, or you think that no, the other person should wait for you, other person should serve you now because you are advanced more. So many things will come into picture. But that shouldn't be the case. Initiation is just a beginning step. Everything should go as usual. Rest of the things should go as usual, as though nothing has changed. So only the course of actions has changed. That's all. Your connection has changed. Connection has established with Guru. You became a das. Officially, you have become das, servant of Brahma Mata Gaudi Sampradaya in the Parampara. Raman is something like that. That's all. That's all. There is a change. Otherwise, the rest of the process is same every day. Is that clear, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll stop here with the next prayer, japa call. Okay, if still anybody has questions, we can answer.
Yes, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Yes.
Yeah, Prabhuji, just on the 13th chapter, I understand, on a very high level, I understand Kshetra, Gyan, Gyatnyam, Gyanam, but Prakriti, and even I understand Purusha, that's the Supreme Lord, the Purushottam.
Yeah.
And even the Jiva, to some extent, if he's in material, yeah. But in Prakriti, Prabhuji, as I understand it, that's material nature, right? Maya, material nature, the modes and everything. But in one lecture, Prabhupada mentioned that we jivas are also Prakriti.
Yeah.
So I wanted to understand the technicality in the sense that, okay, we are spiritual, we are jivas.
I understood. I have to jump to the next call, but I'll tell you very quickly.
Okay, sure, Prabhuji.
Prakriti in a general term, whenever Prakriti is used, that means material nature. But in a specific context, it's a jiva is also considered as a Prakriti, because we are not the enjoyer. The enjoyer means is only Krishna.
The Lord.
We are being enjoyed by the Lord. Naturally, we get enjoyment automatically. So in that sense, we are Prakriti. He is the Purusha. He is the only Purusha. Ekala Estra. Ekala. Ekala means only one. Ekala Estra Ara Sava Vrutti. That means including Lord Balaram. Every one of us are servants. That means we are being enjoyed by the Lord Krishna. So we are Prakriti. He is the only Purusha.
Yeah. So we are enjoyed from that standpoint. We are the predominated, we are the enjoyed. But technically, we are also spiritual. Yeah, our constitutional position is the jiva is in a pure soul is like a prakriti. Yeah, it's a prakriti.
Yes.
It's not material nature. It's a prakriti.
Correct.
Okay, so it's only when Srila Prabhupada mentions it, it's only because of that enjoyed and predominated. Okay, understood then. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Gopal Vijay, Vaishnava Vijay, Gopal Vijay.